What if I told you there's a way to flip the script after a breakup and make your ex question everything they thought they knew about letting you go? Today I'm revealing 7 psychological strategies that tap into the deepest parts of human nature to create genuine regret in your ex's mind. But here's the thing, these aren't manipulation tactics or games. These are real psychological principles that work because they address fundamental human needs and desires that your ex probably didn't even realize they were losing when they walked away. Before we dive in, I need you to understand something crucial. The goal here isn't revenge or trying to hurt someone who hurt you. The real power in these strategies comes from how they transform you into a better version of yourself while naturally triggering those psychological responses that make people reconsider their choices. When you apply these correctly, you're not just making your ex regret losing you, you're actually becoming someone worth regretting losing. Let's start with the first psychological trick that's probably the most counterintuitive but also the most powerful. It's called the scarcity principle, but we're going to use it in a way most people never consider. Instead of making yourself scarce through no contact, which everyone talks about, you're going to make your attention and emotional investment scarce. Here's what this looks like in practice. When your ex does reach out, whether it's through social media, mutual friends, or directly, your response needs to demonstrate that your emotional energy is now a limited resource. This doesn't mean being cold or rude. It means being genuinely busy with your own life and growth. When someone realizes that something they used to have unlimited access to is now rare and valuable, their brain automatically assigns it higher worth. Your ex had your full attention and emotional availability during the relationship. Now they're discovering that those things aren't guaranteed anymore. The psychology behind this runs deep. Humans have evolved to pursue what seems difficult to obtain and to devalue what comes too easily. When your ex realizes they can't just snap their fingers and have your focus anymore, it triggers what psychologists call reactance theory. They start wanting what they can't have simply because they can't have it. But remember, this only works if you're genuinely investing that energy into yourself and your own growth, not just pretending to be busy. The second trick involves something called social proof amplification, and it's incredibly effective because it works on multiple psychological levels simultaneously. Social proof is the idea that we determine what's appropriate or valuable by looking at what other people think and do. Right now, your ex's social circle probably sees you as the person who got left behind. We're going to change that narrative completely. Start surrounding yourself with new people who value you. Join new activities, build new friendships, and most importantly, make sure these positive interactions are visible. When your ex sees that other people find you interesting, attractive, and worth spending time with, it creates cognitive dissonance. They start questioning their own judgment about your worth. The key here is authenticity. You can't fake having a rich social life, so you need to actually build one. The psychological principle at work here is called the bandwagon effect. When people see others valuing something, they automatically assume there must be a good reason for it. Your ex will start wondering what these new people see in you that made them want to stick around when they decided to leave. This creates the first seeds of doubt about their decision. Moving into the third strategy, we're going to leverage something called the peak end rule. This is a psychological principle discovered by Nobel Prize winner Daniel Kahneman that shows people judge experiences largely based on how they felt at the most intense point and how the experience ended. Most breakups end with drama, arguments, or negative emotions. We're going to rewrite that ending. The next time you have any interaction with your ex, make sure it ends on a genuinely positive note. This might mean cutting a conversation short while it's going well rather than letting it drag on until it becomes awkward or negative. It could mean responding to their message with something kind and then not continuing the conversation that day. What you're doing is creating a new peak end memory that replaces the negative final memories of your relationship. This is powerful because every time your ex thinks about you, their brain will increasingly default to this newer, more positive final interaction rather than whatever negative experience ended your relationship. You're literally reprogramming their emotional associations with you, which naturally leads to wondering if they made the right choice. The fourth psychological trick taps into something called the contrast effect, which is one of the most reliable ways to influence human perception. Right now, your ex is probably comparing you to their current situation or to idealized versions of what they think they want. We're going to change what they're comparing you to by systematically improving yourself in visible ways. This isn't about trying to become someone you're not. It's about becoming the best version of who you already are. Start focusing on the areas of yourself that you've always wanted to improve but maybe neglected during the relationship. Maybe that's your fitness, your career, a creative skill, or your social confidence. The key is making these improvements visible through your social media and through mutual friends. When your ex sees these improvements, their brain automatically compares this new version of you to the version they remember. This creates what psychologists call positive contrast, where the new version seems even better because of the comparison. They start wondering if they gave up on you just before you were about to become everything they actually wanted. The fifth strategy involves leveraging intermittent reinforcement, which is one of the most powerful psychological principles for creating lasting behavioral patterns. This is the same principle that makes gambling addictive. The unpredictable reward schedule creates much stronger psychological hooks than consistent patterns. Instead of consistently reaching out to your ex or consistently ignoring him, you're going to create an unpredictable pattern of positive interactions. Sometimes you might like their social media post, sometimes you won't. Sometimes you might respond to their message quickly, sometimes you might take days. Sometimes you might be warm and friendly, sometimes more distant but polite. This unpredictability keeps you in their thoughts because their brain can't predict your behavior anymore. When someone's behavior becomes unpredictable, we naturally pay more attention to them because our brains are constantly trying to figure out the pattern. Your ex will find themselves thinking about you more often as they try to decode your responses, which naturally leads to wondering about your feelings and motivations. The sixth psychological trick uses something called the Benjamin Franklin effect, which reveals a counterintuitive truth about human psychology. We actually like people more after we do favors for them, not the other way around. Most people think doing favors for others makes those people like us more, but research shows the opposite is true. If your ex reaches out asking for small favors or help with something, and if you're emotionally ready to handle this without getting pulled back into old patterns, consider saying yes occasionally. When they help you or do something nice for you, their brain has to justify why they would do that for someone they supposedly don't want to be with anymore. The easiest justification is that they must still care about you more than they realized. This creates internal conflict and forces them to reconsider their feelings. But be careful with this strategy. Only use it if you're genuinely in a place where you won't read too much into their actions or get your hopes up based on small gestures. The seventh and final psychological trick is perhaps the most sophisticated because it combines several psychological principles into what I call the transformation narrative. This involves completely reframing the story of your relationship and breakup in a way that positions you as someone who used the experience to level up dramatically. Instead of being the person who got left behind, you become the person who used that experience as a catalyst for incredible growth. You start talking about the breakup, when it comes up naturally, as one of the best things that ever happened to you because of how much it taught you and how much you've grown since then. This creates massive cognitive dissonance for your ex. They expected you to be hurt, stuck, or struggling without them. Instead, you're thriving and actually grateful for the experience. This forces them to question whether they underestimated your resilience and growth potential. It makes them wonder if they gave up on someone who was actually capable of becoming everything they wanted but just needed the right catalyst. The psychology behind this is called narrative therapy. When you control the story about what happened, you control how both you and others feel about it. Your ex will start to see themselves not as someone who escaped a bad situation, but as someone who potentially walked away from someone with incredible growth potential right before that potential was realized. Here's what's crucial to understand about all these strategies. They only work if you genuinely commit to becoming a better version of yourself. You can't fake personal growth, authentic social connections, or genuine confidence. These psychological principles are powerful precisely because they're based on real changes in your value and attractiveness as a person. The beautiful irony is that by focusing on making your ex regret losing you, you're actually focusing on becoming someone you can be proud of regardless of whether they come back. These strategies work because they make you genuinely more attractive to everyone, not just your ex. And if your ex doesn't eventually recognize your worth, you'll have built a life that attracts people who do. Remember, the goal isn't to manipulate someone into wanting you back through tricks and games. The goal is to become so genuinely impressive that anyone who walked away from you would naturally wonder if they made a mistake. That's the difference between temporary tactics and lasting transformation. What psychological principle surprised you most? Let me know in the comments below, and if this helped you see your situation differently, make sure to subscribe for more insights into the psychology of relationships and personal growth.